Muy buenas, ¿qué tal a todos? En el día de hoy voy a hacerle una entrevista a Nathan Roberts. Por supuesto, esta entrevista se va a dirigir en el idioma inglés. So right now we're going to speak in English. This interview will be today right now to Nathan Roberts. He's a research in wildlife and conservation. It has a long time of experience doing several research and experiments. It's been focused on tigers and animals, right? So and mammals. Also, he's doing a handy one project called wildconserve.com. If you want, you can check the website here, and also check some videos about some contents, the main ideas of it. So he's right now being focused about one topic called the climate change today. So hello, hello Nathan Roberts. So
hola, buenos días.
Can you introduce yourself about who are you, what kind of things are you doing right now here in Harbin, China?
Yeah, of course.
And this, because you are also doing a master degree in wildlife conservation.
Yeah.
Yes. So can you introduce your history about how everything started?
Okay, yeah, of course. Great. Hello, hola. Me llamo Nathan. My name is Nathan. I'm from the UK, as Manuel introduced. So my experience as far as it sort of goes, it's very much wildlife based, whether that's going through the animal care route, which was my college education, and that's sort of involving lots of sort of zoos, aquariums and this kind of thing. And then I've been out in South America. I spent a bit of time in Costa Rica, beautiful place, living in the rainforest, doing wildlife research. That included the tortugas del mar, a bit of Chinese there as well. Studying the marine turtles, also monkeys, also otters, butterflies. Did some fantastic research out there with lots of other people, including volunteers. And then I really got interested in the volunteering side. Then moved back to the UK, spent a bit of time up in Scotland, and actually initiated a project in Scotland about volunteering, whether that's beach cleans, planting trees, and out in the community doing community gardening and stuff like that. And then just coming around full circle now to where we're at now. Here in Harbin, northeast China, decided to move here to pursue a master's degree in wildlife conservation with a special focus on the Siberian tiger and Siberian leopard, or the Amur leopard to give it its proper name, here in the forest in northeast China.
We also have checked the project wildconserve.com. Which kind of contribution would you like to give to the society just doing those kind of things? So
yeah, okay. So this project, started it up. Wildconserve.com is the website address, and this is because I have a personal passion for nature and wildlife. But clearly there are other things in the world. But what was really important is that all of these things are so connected. You know, we're here in this lovely park, and actually, because there is the park, there is the nature, we can feel good, we can feel more happy. And so actually to have nature on our doorstep is actually really good for our personal health and well-being. And this is just one example, and then obviously volunteering, really interested and excited about volunteering. Spending time outside with other people as well, it's really good for social health and social well-being, it's fantastic. And then of course you can look at more environmental things, like many places have problems with flooding or landslides and things like this, and you think, well, this is a problem for, you know, our own security, it's our own houses, our own businesses, but so how can we think of nature as a part of a solution, whether that's city planning, whether it's the landscape planning, because trees of course drink water, and they can slow down the water so that, you know, the water doesn't come rushing in through your house, which is devastating. And so there are many nature-based solutions to the big problems that we have. So I wanted to bring about this project, which is called Why Conserve, because why conserve nature? There are just so many reasons. The economy, the World Economic Forum recently announced that nature was actually the top 5 reasons and the top 5 priorities for the global economy, with climate change, disasters, loss of nature, loss of biodiversity being the biggest threats to the global economy. So why conserve nature is for the global economy as well, and so this is where why conserve came about.
Oh, so yes, that's interesting. So you was do you have some opinion about, because you the last part of your forum was about speaking about Greta Thunberg. Which kind of video do you have of this person, because she's really criticized by everyone, but some media and some analysts, they say that he's being manipulated by another enterprise, another power part, for just trying to having a green policy. But which kind of things do you have some opinion?
Yeah, okay.
The situation of her right now.
Yeah, well, I think Greta Thunberg is just demonstrating that one single person who believes in an idea very, very strongly has managed to mobilize millions of people all around the world on this key important subject of the climate change crisis, the climate emergency. And I think it's fantastic that she has managed to be a figurehead, almost a role model, you could say, to attract so many people and so many young people. Of course, the future is the next generation. It's this generation right now, the young people here today. There's actually more people who are youth on the planet. More than 50% of the global population is youth. And so for a young person to come forward and be going to major meetings like United Nations meetings, to be also going to America. She was over in America, but she's also, I wouldn't necessarily say being manipulated or anything, because what she's presenting is not her own documentation. She has been presenting the climate science from the highest level scientists on this subject. She actually presented that report, that, you know, she presented that and said, this is the science, this has clearly outlined what we need to do. It's basically like cooking: get your ingredients, follow the recipe, because we can fix and get ourselves out of this emergency crisis that we find ourselves in. So she's not actually presenting her own words. I don't think she's being controlled in any sort of respect, but what she's presenting is the actual scientific information.
Oh, okay, just that's good. So do you have another message, another final message that would you like to leave the people, or just for the users that are just watching this video right now?
Yeah, I think there's just one thing that comes to mind. We're here in this park here, and sometimes we just forget about nature. It's so easy to just carry on with our normal life, wherever that is, whatever we're doing, students, working in a business, whatever we're doing. But there's just one thing that comes to mind. I've seen a really cool picture, and it just said everybody should spend at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes in nature every day, unless we're really busy, and then we should spend 1 hour. And I think that's really great, just to recognise and appreciate our local green spaces, and just take some time out and to appreciate nature. I think that's just a great way to spend a bit of time.
I have the last question right now. I was checking that your start life is really recycling things, just trying not to have too much consumption. For example, if you drink one bottle, plastic bottle, you save this for another use. So also you don't eat meat, right?
Correct.
So you're vegetarian, but I was checking all the time, just but too much people was checking, they are really hard to become vegetarian. Why do you decide to do such kind of life? Because you know it's not common for people. People like to eat, like to have too much consumption, like to dog, but you are just
well, I think a lot of sort of where I've come from and what I'm doing right now it's all been because
do you protect animals, right?
So what, sorry?
You are a protector of animals, right?
Yeah. So yes, my major, if you like, my major for my master's research is wildlife conservation, protection of nature. But the choices that I've made, you talk about the meat. I don't eat meat, but there's also other things like consumption. And this has just been from experiences with other people, shared experiences, because I was eating meat, certainly was, but then it was just some conversations with friends. They're like, I'm really surprised that you eat meat. And I couldn't understand it, because when I was in school and college, not eating meat, it was all about animal welfare, and that's absolutely fine. Of course it is. Animal welfare is incredibly important, especially when you think about the meat industry. But then, for me, it was just something normal and inbuilt that I was eating meat. But then they were so surprised, because they said, you know that the most destructive industry to the environment is the meat industry, the meat and dairy industry. I was like, well, I don't quite understand. And this happened at a time I was in South America. And the majority of the Amazon rainforest, the reason we lose the Amazon rainforest is because of the meat industry. It's for cattle ranching. And so I was just, okay, now I understand. And from that point on, I was thinking, well, protection of nature is my main thing, and therefore I must live to these values. And so I've stopped eating meat. I feel fine. I haven't lost any weight. I haven't gained any weight. I feel pretty fine, to be fair. And it's actually more easy. And talking about the consumption and these things, that's again through just experiences and just going to do a beach clean, doing a local community pickup of rubbish. You just find how much rubbish we're just buying, using it for like a single use or something like this, and then just chucking it away, which is pollution. And this stuff doesn't degrade. It degrades, but it doesn't disappear. A leaf on the ground will disappear. It will biodegrade. But plastic bag will last for many years. A plastic bottle about 400 years. 400 years. I'm not going to live for 400 years. The children of today aren't going to live for 400 years. So this is why I'm trying to cut down on my consumption. But it's all been about what is the lowest hanging fruit. By that I just mean, what is the thing that I can do today? Because choosing not to eat meat may be difficult for some people, may be very easy for other people. Choosing to recycle could be incredibly easy. So it's about individuals choosing what is the most simple thing, which is the most effective. And yes, of course, the most effective way to protect nature and reduce your impact on the planet is to stop eating meat, to avoid meat and animal products. Yeah, so, and then just thinking on the consumption side, I think the single-use stuff, that's really got to go in most situations, recognising that there are some very useful practices. The medical industry, for example, is using lots of single-use things. But we also need to think about, do I need to buy a bottle of juice, a drinks bottle? You know, buying yourself, like here is pretty cold, so buy a flask for hot water that I can use day in every single day, and of course I can use that for cold water as well in the summer. So buying yourself and using one bottle that you can use again and again safely, because plastic bottles should not be used again and again and again and again, because the plastic breaks down, and actually plastic is toxic. That is one of the key important messages that we need to get about plastic. Plastic is toxic and should therefore not be really used for food products and drink products. And therefore this is why we need to try to move away from this polluting plastic for our own human health as well, for our own personal health.
Well, so that's all we have finished right now, our interview right now.
Okay, great.
So if you have some commenting of video or watch any such kind of suggestion here, just leave in the table of commentaries about this video. Also, that's all we have finished this video. Okay. That's all.
Muchas gracias a todos.
If you want, goodbye.
Bye bye.